Hello everyone, and welcome to Split Second's Instant Commander, the series where we give you fresh strategies for all your favorite commanders and also ones you've never heard of. Today, we're here to show you our Minsc Double Rector Across the Sky, the format's premier deck at assembling game-winning, sometimes bizarre creature combos using as few resources as possible. Please keep in mind that our base list is budgetless and tailored for Fringe. Regardless, we will still provide you with budget options that can also help you adapt the deck's power level to your playgroup. If you want even more, just ask in the comments below, join us on Discord, or leave a comment on the deck list on Moxfield. Now, who is Minsc, beloved Ranger? Minsc was a kind-hearted, but rather addled, Rashomar warrior that enjoyed many adventures across the Sword Coast and beyond. He joined many... wait, wrong game. For real now, have you ever played Tevesh Ishai and thought, damn, I wish my Academy Rector won me the game instead of getting this silly humility? Have you ever sat there playing Marath wishing the deck had more one-card combos? Have you ever wanted a pet hamster? Well, you're in luck because Minsc and his beloved partner Boo are arguably the premium Pattern Rector commanders of CDH. As a card, Minsc himself is pretty simple. Costing all 3 Naya colors to cast, he boasts a respectable 3/3 body and, on ETB, he creates Boo, an adorable 1/1 with trample and haste. Additionally, and more relevantly, Minsc lets you pay X generic mana to give a creature you control base power and toughness XX. That's base power and toughness, not plus X. The game plan. Our game plan is simple. We intend to do one thing and one thing only. Activate Minsc with X equaling 0, setting one of our creatures' toughness to 0, and killing it in order to win the game. What are we killing? Well, one of only a few things. Academy Rector, Arena Rector, a creature holding a Pattern of Rebirth, or even the big mean Protean Hulk itself. From the corpses of these our fallen soldiers, we can assemble layered creature combos that win us the game on the spot. The rest of the deck is tailored to support the quick and repeated casting of these game-winning spells. We have plenty of ramp in order to cast them early and consistently, a number of tutors to find them, and as much protection as Naya can realistically play. Additionally, we have a few select pieces of interaction which we can use to stop our opponents from stopping us. Simple, right? Strengths and weaknesses. The key strength of Minsc as the commander is that, at any given moment, we are no more than 2 steps away from winning. Realistically, we only ever need Minsc and one of our one-card combos with Minsc to win. There is no elaborate setup beforehand. These low requirements for generating a win means we can, theoretically, present that win faster and more consistently than other decks, while also making it harder for our opponents to gauge how close we are to winning. The deck is generally good against decks that play few counter spells or removal that can hit creatures, which is most of them, and stacks decks that rely heavily on Rule of Law or Stony Silence effects to stop their opponents. This deck can struggle against faster combo decks and decks that layer multiple Rest in Peace or Cursed Totem effects. Now that you've hopefully gotten the gist of the deck's game plan, let's take a deeper look into our strategies. Now, the easiest, most consistent way to Minsc our way to victory is through the killing of a Protean Hulk. This poses a problem, because Hulk costs an uncool 7 mana. Luckily for us, we can circumvent this with one of 3 cards. First, we have Academy Rector. By using Minsc to kill the Rector, we can exile it to find a Pattern of Rebirth to put into play. And Minsc even gives us a body to put it on, Boo. By killing Boo, we can get the pattern to trigger and put the Hulk directly into play. Alternatively, we can also just cast Pattern of Rebirth directly from hand to achieve the same effect. Natural Order is slightly clunkier in that it requires a green creature to sacrifice, and it can't be Minsc himself, but a mana dork will more than suffice. So now, we have a Hulk in play. We kill it with Minsc. Now what? Hulk piles. Well, first and foremost, if you can, use the first Hulk trigger to find Mistmoon Griffin and Grand Abolisher. Killing the Griffin with Minsc will put the Hulk back into play, and if our opponents were holding interaction before, well, tough luck, they can't play it now. After that, the deck has 3 main Hulk piles. The cleanest and most versatile pile involves finding Gerard Weatherlight Hero and Safi Eric's Daughter. We can activate Safi's ability, targeting Gerard, and then kill him with Minsc. Now, we'll have 2 triggers, the Safi trigger and the Gerard trigger. By layering those triggers so that Safi's resolves first, Gerard will return to the battlefield, then his trigger will resolve. That trigger will prompt us to exile him from the graveyard, but he's not there, so he's not exiled. Then, since the rest of the effect is not conditional on Gerard's exile, it'll happen anyway, returning Safi and Protean Hulk to play. Killing Hulk an additional time, we can find Twin Shot Sniper, which on ETB will deal 2 damage to any target. Now, we can repeat the Safi and Gerard loop while also using Minsc to kill the sniper on every iteration, having it re-enter the battlefield and dealing 2 damage, repeat until our opponents are dead. This pile is versatile because, as you may have noticed, we can keep looping Hulk to fetch other creatures if we need to. Outland Liberator and Wild Cantor can even come in to kill an errant Torpor Orb, but there are many possibilities in general. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you've drawn some of the combo pieces, you can get Dockside Extortionist off Protean Hulk in order to make the mana to cast them. Pile number 2 is mostly a byproduct of having Arena Rector and Birthing Pod lines in the deck, as we'll see later, but can also be assembled through Hulk. So with our Hulk trigger, we go find Karmic Guide, which can return Hulk to play. Killing Hulk again, we can find a Felidar Guardian, which can flicker our Karmic Guide, which will return the Hulk to play again. Killing Hulk for a final time, we can find Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. Kiki has haste, so we can tap him to create a hasty copy of our Felidar Guardian, which will exile Kiki and return him to the battlefield untapped. We can repeat this process to create an arbitrarily large number of hasty cats, which can kill our opponents. This pile is theoretically useful if we draw something we should have, but in practice it's not relevant very often. Lastly, it must be noted that there exists, however clunky, a single Hulk pile. By breaking our Hulk for Dockside Extortionist, Imperial Recruiter, and a 1-drop like Wild Cantor or Tinderwall, we can hopefully generate enough mana to find Felidar off Recruiter, cast Felidar, flicker Recruiter, find Kiki-Jiki, and cast Kiki-Jiki to make infinite cats. This pile requires our Dockside to create 9 treasures, 8 if you also find a Cantor, 7 if it's Tinderwall instead. That is quite a bit, but it's still a good trick to have up our sleeve. Strategy 2. Arena Rector. Our second Rector operates on a slightly different axis. By casting Arena Rector and killing it with Minsc, we can exile it to do the following. Find Vivian of the Hunt and put her into play. +2 Vivian, sacrificing Minsc to find Felidar Guardian, which can flicker Vivian. Since Viv is a new object, we can +2 her again, sacrificing Felidar Guardian for Karmic Guide, which on ETB will return Felidar to the field, flickering Vivian again. Now, we can uptick Viv one final time. Sacking Felidar for Kiki-Jiki, we can tap him to create a copy of Karmic Guide, which can again return Felidar to play. From here, you already know what happens. While this line by itself isn't spectacular, since it only works in your pre-combat main phase and always loses to Torpor Orb, which our Hulk lines can dodge, the positive effect these tools have on our deck's overall play cannot be overstated. We gain a higher density of win the game cards, we aren't dead meat because we drew too many combo pieces, we're harder to disable with Praetor's Grasp effects, and we have an A+B combo just in case. Overall, while the Arena Rector play is only a plan B, it's a plan B that makes our deck faster, more consistent, and more resilient on every axis that it plays. Strategy 3. We can execute our Arena Rector combo chain by directly casting Vivian as well. She's expensive, but still castable, especially after a sizable Dockside. Similarly, because we already have the cards for the line in the deck, there's very little reason not to play Birthing Pod. For the same amount of mana as Vivian, 6, we can execute the same chain starting with Minsc. Sure, it loses to Null Rod effects, but given how low the opportunity cost for inclusion is, it's still a worthwhile inclusion. Strategy 4. Tutors. Honestly, this deck isn't very picky. Our purpose is to assemble a winning combo, and we're down to clown no matter what combo starter we have in hand. Our tutors are equally single-minded. They find a combo piece, nothing more, nothing less. We play a total of 9 creature tutors, which usually find either Rector. But it's also worth noting that every single one of these can also find Outland Liberator, a very good Rest in Peace and Torpor Orb Destroyer. There are a few additional tutors for other ways to win, like Enlightened Tutor, which can find Pattern of Rebirth or Birthing Pod, and Open the Armory, which only finds Pattern. If you have multiple options, it's usually best to go for the one that has the lowest chance of being disrupted, or that is the easiest to recover from if disrupted. Strategy 5. Try again. If you do get disrupted though, don't panic. We're prepared for this. Cards like our Rectors, even Pattern to an extent, Vivian, Birthing Pod, they're combo starters, but they aren't exactly combo pieces. We can win without them. Rector 1 got exiled? No stress, we can go for Rector 2, and so on. We have the density of starters and tutors to consistently present more winning attempts, and given that some of our starters are creatures, which CDH meta counterspells aren't great at handling, we will usually be able to find a spot to win. Now, sometimes you'll try and you'll fail. There will be times when your first win will get disrupted, and other times someone will shut you off with a turn 2 rest in peace. This can put us in a rough position, but the one thing you have to keep in mind is you are not dead until they kill you. Seems obvious, but the reality is you need to be constantly thinking of what you need to draw or find to dig yourself out, what stacks pieces you can convince other players to kill for you. Think about what lines are still available, what lines you might be able to make available, and how you need to play for it all to pan out. This deck might look frail, but that can work in your favor. Let your opponents underestimate you, and snatch the win when they least expect. One important thing to mention is to be mindful to not get tunnel vision on the elaborate lines. In a world of Rips and Samurai the Pale Curtain, sometimes assembling Kiki plus Felidar manually is your best option. Other tools. As you've probably noticed, this deck is kind of really afraid of Rest in Peace and Curse Totems, as well as any similar effects on creatures, and of course the classic Drannith Magistrate. As such, our removal is tailored to get these out of the way, with cards such as Nature's Claim, Swords to Plowshares, and Lightning Bolt. As always, feel free to tailor your suite of removal to deal with your metagame. As it is, the list we're using is soft to Linvala, Keeper of Silence, but including cards like Path to Exile or even Flame Slash can be the help you need. Similarly, if our Instance and Outland Liberator aren't enough hate removal for you, feel free to include cards like Kasali Pridemage or Natural State. We've also included some defensive interaction like Red Elemental Blast and Veil of Summer to try and keep us safe during our own winning turns. Lastly, while our deck is very hard up for grindy options, we've included a Toski, Bearer of Secrets, which is very easy to find in case we need more gas. Mulliganing for Minsc is fairly simple. You usually don't want to keep a hand that doesn't have a clear path to win the game. Your ideal opener will have a couple of lands, some ramp to cast Minsc on turn 2, and either one of your cheaper game-winning cards or a tutor to find one. Alternatively, analyze the table, check for decks that would be capable of layering Rip or Curse Totem style effects, and maybe prioritize keeping a hand that can find a piece of removal to deal with them, since in general the game winners will be easier to naturally draw or tutor for. Budget options. Building Minsc on a budget is not particularly easy. Luckily, since we're in Naya, we're already not playing all the expensive blue cards you see in other decks. Additionally, while Academy Rector might be a very good tool for the deck, it's also cuttable or replaceable. You can just as easily combo with just Pattern and replace Academy Rector with a card like the now cheap Idyllic Tutor or even Heliod's Pilgrim. The more expensive tutors, like Survival of the Fittest, can be cut for something like Gamble, and even expansive fast mana like Mana Crypt and Mana Vault could be cut since, especially if your mana base is suboptimal, the colorless mana can be not very useful. Additionally, if you can't afford speed, you might be able to afford to stall. Replacing some of the fast mana like Rocks and Orcish Lumberjack with stacks cards like Archon of Emeria, Yasharn, Implacable Earth, or even Mind Sensor can be effective in disrupting our opponents enough to give you the time you need to find your win. In that case, a card like Oran Frostfang can be included alongside Toski to more effectively play the grindy game. And don't worry about your own stacks pieces, if they're in the way, Minsc can just kill them. So that's Minsc, Double Rector across the sky. It's a simple deck in concept, single-minded, inefficient, good at doing what it's supposed to do, and frankly not much else. With it, you'll be able to consistently pull off game-winning creature combos, starting with a Rector and a Dream and ending with 3 dead opponents. Truly, a fine deck choice for Kiki-Jiki stands, as well as hamster lovers the world over. This sums up our instant commander for Minsc, Beloved Ranger. We totally recommend you check the deck list we're using and make any necessary tweaks you need to show your friends the triumphs and defeats, the epic highs and lows of Minsc and Boo's creature combos. Remember, if you need help adapting this deck to your budget or meta, or have any ideas or suggestions to help improve it, come hang in our Discord server, the link for which is in the description below, or just leave us a comment. We'd like to thank our current patrons, and especially Izanagi, TJ Rapp, Mike Purr, Ajimu, Drunken House Cat, V, RJ, Heated Chill, Pina, Ricardo, Dragon Steak, Katarina, Michael Bowen, Super Scaldy, Dog, Wyatt, Wicked, and Xenon, our stack breakers. If you too would like to support us, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, or even consider becoming a patron. Come join us again next week for a new gameplay video. See you all then.